Hey everyone! So, have you heard people talking about our liver? I did too and wondered, why is it so special? Well, turns out it's super duper important. Just like how we shouldn't have too much fat in our tummies, our liver shouldn't either. But many of us do, and that's called a fatty liver. It's like our liver ate too much junk food and got a bit chubby. But here's the good news. We can help our liver get back in shape. Just like we exercise to stay fit, there are some simple things we can do for our liver. So, if you're curious about how to make your liver happy and healthy, stick with me. We're going on an adventure to learn some liver-loving tips. Why is the liver so important? Imagine a superhero inside you, and that's what the liver is. It's super busy, working day and night, doing a ton of jobs to keep us healthy. One of its most important jobs is making something called bile. Now, what's bile? Think of bile as a special soap our body makes. You know how when we have a super greasy pan after cooking, we use soap to help clean it? Bile does the same thing, but inside our body. Now, whenever we eat something yummy and fatty, like a piece of pizza or a juicy burger, our body needs to break down that fat to use it. This is where bile jumps into action. Without bile, the fat would just stick together in big globs, kind of like when oil and water don't mix. That would be a big mess, right? But thanks to bile, the fat breaks down into tiny pieces, making it easier for our body to use. So, the next time you enjoy your favorite treat, just remember there's a superhero liver and its sidekick bile working hard inside you to handle all that deliciousness. Wait, bile comes from where? Let's clear up a cool fact about our body. I've heard a few folks around school and even some grown-ups thinking that the gallbladder is the champ when it comes to making bile. But guess what? That's not the case. The real superstar here is our liver. Yep, our liver is like the chef in a kitchen, cooking up that useful thing called bile. On the other hand, the gallbladder's role is more like the refrigerator, storing the bile until it's time to use it. Think of the liver making a fresh batch of lemonade and the gallbladder keeping it cool until it's time to serve. Now, why is bile such a big deal? Picture this. You're munching on a tasty piece of cheese or a buttery toast. Once that fat hits our stomach, bile swoops in to break down those fat molecules into smaller bits. It's like breaking up a big puzzle into small pieces. And when we do that, it makes it super easy for our body to soak up all the fantastic things inside, like vitamins. One of these is vitamin A. It's like a little superhero for our eyes, especially when it's dark outside. Without enough bile, we'd miss out on these awesome benefits. So, cheers to our liver for helping us out. No bile? That doesn't sound fun. So, when everything is working great, our liver produces this thing called bile, which helps in breaking down the fats we eat. But sometimes, our liver might have a bit of a hiccup and not make enough bile. When this happens, our body starts to give us little hints that something might be off. Imagine eating a delicious cheesy pizza, but instead of feeling satisfied and happy afterwards, your stomach feels a bit icky. That can be because without enough bile, the fat in that pizza isn't getting broken down properly. Now, here comes the slightly embarrassing but super important part, poop. Our poop can actually tell us a lot about our health. When our liver isn't producing enough bile, our poop can look pale or might even float in the toilet. Ew, I know, but it's an important clue. Another sign is feeling really hungry even after you just ate a big meal. This happens because our body isn't absorbing all the good nutrients from our food without enough bile. It's like reading half a book and missing the best parts. So, always pay attention to these signs because they help us understand what's happening inside us, why vitamins are a big deal. Did you know that the fats we eat are kind of like little treasure chests? Inside them, there are valuable things called vitamins, especially A, E, D, and K. These vitamins play a special role in keeping our body healthy and strong. But here's the thing. To unlock these treasures, Our body uses a tool called bile. Bile is like the key to the chest. Without enough of it, we can't get to these vitamins. Let's take vitamin A as an example. This vitamin is super cool because it helps us see better in the dark. If you've ever had trouble driving at night or found it hard to see when it's a bit dim, it might be because you're low in vitamin A. Now let's talk about a couple of other amazing vitamins. Vitamin D is like a bodyguard for our bones. It makes sure they stay strong and healthy. If you've been feeling pain or think your bones might be getting a bit weak, it could be a sign of low vitamin D. And then there's vitamin K. This vitamin is like a superhero that helps stop bleeding by making our blood clot. If you've noticed that you bruise easily, it might be because you need more vitamin K. So, you see, each vitamin plays its own special part in keeping us feeling our best. Next up, the liver and other cool jobs. The liver is kind of like a multitasking superhero inside our bodies. Sure, we've talked about how it helps with bile, but that's just one of its many jobs. Another super important task it takes on is working with our thyroid. Think of the thyroid as a little factory in our neck that produces special substances called hormones. These hormones have big roles. They control how we feel, our energy levels, and even how fast our heart beats. But for these hormones to do their jobs properly, they need a little help. That's where our liver comes in. It's like a quality checker. It takes a look at the hormones from the thyroid and makes sure they're in tip-top shape and ready to work. If they're not, the liver helps fix them up. Now here's another cool fact. Our body has other hormones like estrogen and testosterone. Imagine them as team players in a game. If there are too many players from one team and not enough from the other, the game won't be fair. The liver acts like a coach, making sure both teams are balanced and the game is played right. If we ever have too much of one hormone, our liver steps in to even things out. So, while it might seem like just one organ, our liver plays a big role in making sure everything in our body works smoothly. Why we should be kind to our liver. The liver is like a super hard-working employee in our body's company. But like any worker, if it's not taken care of, it can start to have problems. When the liver is unhappy, it can become fatty and swell up, kind of like how a sponge soaks up water. This doesn't feel good. In fact, some folks might start feeling a kind of pain near their right shoulder, or they might feel like they've just eaten a huge meal even when they haven't, all puffed up on their right side. It's like the liver is sending an SOS signal saying, "Hey, I need some help here." Now, you might have heard of another organ called the thyroid. It's a butterfly-shaped thing in our neck, and it's pretty important too. Sometimes when we feel out of sorts, we might think it's because of the thyroid acting up. But surprise! It can actually be our liver crying out for attention. The liver and the thyroid are like teammates in a relay race. If one is slowing down, it affects the other. So, if our hormones or thyroid seem to be acting weird, it might be a good idea to see if our liver is okay. After all, they're in this race together. What you have been waiting for, the yummy solution, a healthy shake. All right, friends, gather around, because I've got something exciting to share. We've talked so much about the liver and how crucial it is in our body's grand scheme of things. We know it's super essential and taking good care of it is a big deal. But I bet you're wondering, how can we make looking after our liver a fun experience? Well, guess what? I've whipped up a shake recipe that not only tastes yum but also gives your liver a big thumbs up. It's like throwing a mini party for your liver every time you sip this shake. Before we dive into the recipe, let's chat a bit about our ingredients. First on our list is kale. Now don't make that face. I know it's green and leafy, but it's packed with nutrients. It's like the superhero of the vegetable world, ready to swoop in and save the day. Then we've got blueberries, those tiny, round, and bursting with flavor fruits. They're not just delicious, but they're also packed with stuff that's great for our health. Last but not least, we have kefir. Think of kefir as yogurt's cooler cousin. It's tangy, creamy, and amazing for our tummy. Now, the magic begins. Take a handful of kale, a good amount of blueberries, and a generous pour of kefir. Pop them all in a blender and give it a whirl until it's smooth and creamy. And there you have it. A refreshing, delightful drink that's a treat for your taste buds and a pat on the back for your liver. Every time you sip on this shake, it's like telling your liver, "Hey, I've got your back." Enjoy every gulp and give yourself a cheer for making a choice that's tasty and healthy. So, let's chat a bit more about our liver. I bet after all this talk, next time someone mentions the liver at school or at a family gathering, you'll be the expert. Our liver is like the unsung hero in our body, working behind the scenes to make sure everything runs smoothly. It's like the backstage crew during a school play, ensuring all actors are in place and the props are ready. Without it, the show would be a mess. Now, even though we're talking a lot about the liver, it's essential to remember that it's part of a bigger team. Our body has many parts, and they all work together like a well-practiced orchestra, making sure we feel fantastic from head to toe. But here's the exciting part. Taking care of our liver doesn't have to be boring. In fact, it can be tasty and fun. Imagine whipping up that delicious shake we talked about earlier. Sipping on it not only makes our taste buds dance, but also gives our liver some love. It's like throwing a small party in your body where everyone's invited, especially the liver. So, every time you think of health, remember that it's not just about one part of our body. It's about the whole package. And with each yummy shake you enjoy, raise your glass and toast to a happy, healthy liver and an even happier, healthier you. Cheers!